What's happening with you? This is the Roy C. Gilmore podcast, where real don't get no realer and it don't come with a filter. I am your host, Roy C. Gilmore. Today I have a very special guest. I have a young lady telling her story as a former prostitute, a former drug addict, and a future abuse counselor. This one is going to be interesting. Y'all tune in. Relax. It's okay. All good. So first I'm gonna ask you, what is your name and where are you from? That's fine.
My name is Diana. I'm originally from Russia, but I live in Wisconsin now.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I was born in Russia. I was in an orphanage till I was 7, because my mom, I guess, my real mom, had me when she was locked up or something. I don't really know, much. So I moved to New Mexico. I lived there till I was 18. I mostly went to, private. I actually only went to private schools because my parents are, super, they at this point, I wasn't, a huge Christian, so I'm going to say they were super religious, but they were just actually Christians and wanted better for me. But at the time, I was they're super religious. They didn't let me celebrate Halloween. They didn't let me watch Harry Potter, but they let me watch Lord of the Rings, which is weird to me, but I get it now. They were kind of strict on me, a little too strict, I would say, and I think they would probably agree now because we've talked about it, but they didn't let me really have sleepovers or go to do things with other people. They kind of sheltered the fuck out of me, which I don't think was a good idea because I wanted to do, when I turned 17, I was already smoking cigarettes, smoking weed, which I mean, I guess that's normal, but it was a little more for me. So I was actually smoking cigarettes way before 17. I think I started when I was 15, to be honest, and I used to steal their liquor and stuff when I was 13. I remember we went to, they call these things kinships or whatever. I don't know if you know what those are, but basically it's just them and their friends, and they do meals and Bible study. So at one point we had gone to one of their friends' houses, and their friends had this, they were watching their niece or something, but their niece lived really close. So me and their niece went to her house, and we started drinking beer. And I don't know, I only drank 2, but I was fucked up. And I think they knew too when they were driving me back. They didn't say anything, but just the way I was acting, I feel they knew.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when I was 17, the summer, I went to Wisconsin to work for my cousin's restaurant. And then I had met this guy, my first boyfriend, I would say, actually, because I didn't have boyfriends at the time. And, we started smoking all the time, just weed, though, nothing serious. I also lost my virginity to him, but I feel in that way that it happened, it was fucking, it was if I didn't do it, he threw a hissy fit. So, I don't know, I didn't like that. That was fucked up, but that's how I lost my virginity. So, when I moved back to New Mexico, basically, I was turning 18 soon. So when I turned 18, I can actually remember the day I turned 18. My dad called me because he had my curfew and whatever. He was when are you coming home? I'm what are you talking about, dude? I'm an adult. I am not coming home. We had an argument about it, and I'm Dad, I'm not. I'm sorry. There's nothing you can do. Literally nothing you can do. So that's when I started that's when I started doing coke. And it was a lot. It was and I started doing ecstasy too, but it was blow, ecstasy, shrooms, alcohol.
Where'd you get it from?
Obviously, plugs.
Okay,
I knew.
Not that it's hard to come by. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my friends, basically, he had his friend. She had like homies that she would get it from, and so we all started kicking it. And so me, her, and her boyfriend would always like go get blow. We would do it like in school, like we would do it in like and it was like Hope Christian High School. It was a very like rich kid, like no minor, yeah, it was like very proper. Like we had to wear uniforms, like we had to wear collared shirts,
Wow.
like all that. So, and I guess like my mouth was pretty big at the time because I would go into like my first period science class and I'd be like, oh my God, like my night was crazy. Like I would talk about it. And then, like, I guess the whole school kind of knew because one day I didn't show up because I was sick. And my English teacher asked these two girls, like, where's Diana? And this one fuckboy popular kid who I hate to this day, he literally was like, oh, well, she's probably doing drugs. He literally said that. I'm like, you're a snitch, but okay. So she had pulled these two girls aside and basically like one of them just like straight up told her everything.
Yeah.
Like everything. I'm like, damn, like all you guys are off for real. But so the next day I came into school, my teacher, or no, the vice principal had called me out of a class and he was like, we know you're doing drugs. Like, we have to search your bag. We have to drug test you. And I'm like, well, you can search my bag, but you're not going to drug test me. Like, yeah,
Right.
because you're not going to drug test me. No. But you can, yeah, I smoke pot. I said that. That's all I admitted to. I was like, yeah, I smoke pot. You're not going to drug test me. Sorry. And you can't legally drug test me because I'm an adult. So basically, I just got kicked out of that school and I still was like partying and everything, but it was like I don't want to okay, so there's this place, it's called like the War Zone, and I chose to kick it there with the homies, and like all my old friends, okay, backtrack. So I got kicked out of that school and then I went to my first public school, and it was like in not a nice area, so I met people there. Like I started skipping class. Like I skipped 2 consecutive weeks.
Damn.
And I would go and I would go to the parking lot and then I'd meet like my friends and then I would tell my parents like, yeah, I'm in school. But no.
Yeah.
So they called the house phone when I wasn't there and they were like, your daughter hasn't been to school in 2 weeks. And my dad's like, what is it called? I didn't get expelled, but my dad's like, disenroll her. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
they disenrolled me. Oh, yeah, they disenrolled me. Like, my old friends that I used to kick it with, they didn't want to hang out with me either because I was doing just, like, the most. Like, more than them. Even though they were the ones that were, like, got me onto it. Like, now I'm the problem because I'm doing more. Which
So,
now I get.
Let me ask you a question. So,
okay.
I've only done Delta 8. And I mean, you know, my experience.
Delta 8's whack. That shit isn't. I don't think it's real.
It's not. It's a synthetic weed, right?
Right.
It put me in the hospital.
I've never done synthetic weed. I mean, I've smoked Delta 8, but it's never put me in the hospital, like you just said.
Well, this was my first time ever doing anything. I don't drink, smoke, none of that. This shit put me in the hospital, and I was paralyzed for 12 hours.
That's crazy. I don't know.
Paralyzed for.
Was it
I
laced
took
with
gummies.
something?
That's what somebody said. They was like, it may have been K2 or laced with K2 or something like that.
Yeah, K2. I've never done K2, which is crazy because I've done everything else. But K2, I was just like, nah, that's just whack. Because I've heard like it makes you go into a permo trip sometimes, and I've seen how people are on it. It doesn't seem like a good time. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, all drugs are dangerous, but I don't know. K2 is.
Yeah, I bought mine from a mall from this Hispanic lady, and I think back on it, and she said she took more than one at one time, and she was like, it was the scariest thing in her life. And I'm thinking, okay,
she didn't know what she bought, probably, because
who knows, man? This was my first time doing it. I was just getting out of the military, and I mean, I had crazy insomnia. I wouldn't sleep for days.
Mm-hmm.
The Marine Corps fucked my head up, but I took it, was in the hospital for 12. I was in the hospital for 2 or 3 days, and they actually sent me to the psych ward.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah,
but I'll get to that.
So I know people take drugs and they have like scary trips. What's the scariest trip you've ever had?
I can honestly say, in my experience, And it was only scary because I think it was the person that I was with.
Right.
I told you about it, that one guy.
Yeah.
So we took shrooms and we started to fuck, right? And I saw his face and it like morphed. And okay, I don't even like talking about this because like I rebuke it. But like I swear in my head I was like talking to the devil, kind of like.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he was saying anything bad, but I only think that's because like I know like from my whole entire life, like I feel like has been a lot of things that I've overcome, but I don't know if it's because God wanted me to overcome them or because like Satan was like, I'm gonna try to fuck with this girl and hopefully she doesn't overcome them, or both. I don't know. But yeah, I think that was kind of the scariest because like yeah, I've tripped, but all my shit's been like decent. Like I've never really even tested it, but like I know in Albuquerque they got some pretty, I mean, because Mexico is right there, so it's pretty good. And in Green Bay, like most of like the Molly and shit, it's like meth. Like they're called like fuck, what are they? They're like the ecstasy pills. They're called something else because they're only just made of meth, pretty much. But yeah, I don't think I've really had like and that's probably for a reason that I've never had experience because I'm sure that it's probably just hindered me more. I wish I would have, to be honest with you. I do.
Yeah. So have you ever? I had a buddy, and I wanted to try this with my wife just as an experimental thing, but I've heard horrific stories about DMT.
Really? I had such a good time on DMT.
I've heard horror stories.
No. Okay. So for me, like I've done DMT one time, and it was like the cart. It wasn't like the whatever else people do because they make carts of it now. So it's like a liquid that you.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a certain way you have to like press it, or else it'll crystallize. I don't know. But anyway, so I think the people that I was with, it was like we knew we were gonna do it. We were like in a good headspace. I think we even prayed over it, to be honest, because the people that I was with, they were like this one girl. She was very Christian, and so was her man. So they like trip, but they almost do it to get closer to God. Whereas
I get it.
Which I know that's a thing. Yeah. I know that's gonna be like, but it's a drug, but I don't know. But anyway, it was honestly a life-changing experience. It was such a good experience. It was.
Okay. I had a friend, man. We was in the Marine Corps, and in the Marine Corps, guys do a lot of coke. They do a lot of coke. Yeah. They do everything but weed because you can pop for a pitch test on weed.
Yeah,
but, you know, I think for coke, they have to do a spinal tap or some shit like that, or whatever.
What's that?
I hear that from Marines who do it all the time. These guys would do coke before PT tests, and they would be fucking yerked. I'm talking run like fucking Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
And it was fucking crazy. But he took it and he met this demon, and this demon told him how he was going to die. The demon showed him in a hospital bed, and it was talking to him while he was in a hospital bed. He was paralyzed. He was in a hospital bed, and this thing was just telling him, you know, how he was a failure and how he wasn't going to amount to shit. And when he stayed in that for a couple of days, and when he finally came out, he was not the same again. He managed to, you know, get to a somewhat state of normal, but he always remembered.
Was it DMT that he took?
Yeah.
Does he know that for fact?
Yeah, but this guy, he had mental health issues. He was
also that. But how much did he take? Because so when you got like the little cart, you're supposed to inhale it and you're supposed to hold it for as long as possible. And I'm talking like we were holding it for, I thought like it was impossible for me to hold my breath that long. It was crazy. But you have to keep hitting it because it only lasts for a couple minutes.
No, he was in his shit. He was in his trip for a couple of days.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind he took, or I don't know if...
I think it was something where he put it under his tongue or something like that. It was...
See, that could be other things. Like, I'm not saying that... I mean, maybe it was DMT. Like, I'm not an expert on DMT. I've only done it once. Was it acid?
This dude he did all the fucking drugs. But he was one of those guys that know his shit, because he was breaking it down to me to the science. And I'm like, bro, because he was trying to get me to do it. And I'm like, you just told me what happened to you. So why would I, do it? Especially with you, when I know you're fucked up in the head. You're a psychopath, you know, and I can't even get drunk. Spirits start talking to me. So I'm
Yeah,
definitely not about to do, DMT. But
right.
I
And
hear
that could have happened, honestly. It could have. I don't like, because it's a very spiritual thing, also.
hmm
Like, it opens up things. Like, for me personally, when I was tripping, it was like the trees. I don't know if you've ever heard this. The trees were in like a pattern. Like,
yeah.
they were up. It was weird. It was like everything, like everything looked fake.
Yeah.
Everything except for the person, the people you see. The people are the only things that look real. The cabin looked like a plastic. I don't even know. The fire was rainbow colored. We were laughing. It was a good time, honestly. Like, it was not anything bad. It was more, and like you could see your third eye. Like, if you close your eyes, like you could literally see like right here. It was weird.
That's pretty
It
that's
was,
fucking crazy, man.
yeah. But like, I don't know why I haven't ever had a bad trip, but that could just be like me personally, because I know everybody else that's ever tripped has had bad trips.
God told me that, he was not gonna let me do drugs or alcohol any day. Anytime I've ever drank alcohol, I have gotten dog sick.
Hmm.
And if I got drunk, I'm seeing spirits. I think the last time when I took the Delta 8, my wife's dead cousin came to me and told me who killed her when she was alive.
Damn,
Because
that's crazy.
she died. It was ruled a suicide, but somebody had killed her. I think everybody knew that, but they
Hmm.
couldn't prove it. And when she came
Yeah.
to me in this dream, she told me who killed her. And I
Hmm.
related to my wife. My wife knew exactly, who she was
Yeah.
talking about. But
Yeah.
it's stuff like that, man. Like, I don't talk to spirits because once you open that door, they ain't got
Yeah.
nothing but time to talk to your ass.
Hmm. Right.
Spirits, it's weird, man, because sometimes they cool, other times they flip on your ass, and
I don't even want to ever, because like for me, and this is my personal belief, like I believe is exactly what the Bible says. Like, I believe, for me, no, ghosts aren't real. You know what I'm saying? There's angels and they're demons, and
okay.
that's just what I believe. So like, I've messed around with tarot cards before, but every time I've done it, I'm always just like, oh, this is just like I pray to God. I'm like, God, like, you work through these cards, not whatever they're dealing with.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't even do that anymore because I really think it's not for me. I've never touched an Ouija board. Never will I
Yeah.
touch an Ouija board. People are crazy for that.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
But I
People.
also think it's because of my beliefs, because they think they're talking to their dead grandma or their
Right.
little whatever. I know you're talking to the devil, but okay.
Right. Yeah, man. It's people don't believe that spirits exist. People only believe in what they can see, and it's what you
Mhm.
can't see that's really running shit.
Right.
And it's
Right.
I just let people
Spiritual
think whatever.
warfare.
Yeah, I just let people. I'm like, man, you don't know.
Mhm.
I've seen so many divine things, so many demonic things, and it's like I can go on and on and on, which is kind of what my TikTok or my social media is based on.
I've never seen, like, nothing's ever came in my, like, I have nightmares sometimes, but I don't remember them. I've never had sleep paralysis. Never will I want to have
It's
that, because
good.
everyone's like, oh, it's medical. No, I
Nah,
don't think it's medical.
it's
That's
not.
fucking weird.
So
But I've also never had like good, like, I guess like God hasn't really ever come to me like that. Or maybe I think he comes to me more through like social media.
yeah,
Like on my TikTok, it's a lot of like, cause you know the algorithm.
yeah,
So I'll be watching like more Christian stuff, or like he'll come to me through people, but I can feel him like when I pray, or like when
makes
I
sense.
my body, it's like a body high. You know what I
Trust
mean?
me, I get it. I get it.
Or like when I'm walking around my apartment after I watched a scary movie and I'm like, I rebuke all evil, like I can feel it in my body. Like right now I'm talking about it, I can feel it.
Right, I get it 100%. So I'm a curious guy. What does coke feel like?
So it's not the same as crack.
Yeah,
Crack
of
is,
course, of course.
it's the same like substance, but it's basically like you just feel like really just up. Like you're up. But it's not like meth where it's like meth is like more like a euphoric up, but coke is like, so if you're drinking and and this is why people do blow when they're drinking, it makes you more sober. It just makes you really up. Like you don't feel euphoric really unless you're taking the wrong shit. But yeah,
Okay.
it just makes you really up. And it makes you like more focused, I guess, because for me, and I hate to admit this, So I used to, like, remember I said when I used to do blow in the bathroom of my school.
Right.
So I'd also used to do it before tutoring. And I hate math. I suck at it. I've always sucked at it. Whatever. So my parents got me into tutoring, and I'd go to the bathroom, like, oh, I hate this. I do a line, I come back, I'm asking her all types of questions. I'm like, yeah, like, teach me something, you know? Like, I want to know. But it also, yeah, it keeps you up. Like, if you don't do it, like, so there will be times, like, when I used to go to the bars a lot, we'd have A bars, so that's, like, called after bars. So
Okay.
we go to, like, somebody's house, somebody would have a bag, like, we'd just be fucking tweaking until, like, the next day. And even then, sometimes it'd be a 2-day thing. Yeah, it's really a part of the culture. Like, almost every bar has somebody that's doing blow,
Okay.
or more than one person. It's a definitely become a, like, in Wisconsin is a big drinking state. Like, there's bars everywhere, like, everywhere. And I think blow has also become a part of the drinking culture because it lets you drink more. It lets you feel the buzz of drinking a little bit, but you also feel like good. Like, you feel
Okay.
like you could drink more. It's
So
not the, I don't know. I just think I have addictive tendencies because it ain't really like the. Sometimes I question why I even did it because, like, it's not even like my favorite thing, you know?
so
DST, that was good shit though. Sorry, okay, question.
we're done crack.
Yes, I have. And crack, I'll tell you, shit, like when they say crack is whack, crack is whack. So I don't know if I should, like, go on the. I talked to you about, like, Madison and like when I used to have a pimp. So I remember just, like, smoking it all the time. Like, I would carpet surf. I don't know if you've heard that. Carpet surfing, basically, when you're on the carpet, just like, where is it? There's more. There's more. Like, shit like that. Like, it'll last good for literally, and I'm not even kidding. You take a hit, 30 seconds goes by, you're like, more, 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 more.
Okay. So it's
That's,
strong.
it's strong, but it's, like, not like meth either. It's more so like Coke, but like a little more.
So which one is strongest out of coke, meth, and crack?
Oh, meth for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like meth is more so of a, it's like you're up, but you also feel like you could do anything, you know, like you're like superhero, whatever, like, and it'll make you stay up for like fucking days, dude. Okay, so I have a story really quick. Sorry, sidetrack. In Green Bay, we actually just, because I'm a part of the recovery community, so I go to meetings like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Heroin Anonymous. So basically, ever since I started coming, like, this was when I was like 19, so I've been in and out of the rooms for a long time trying to get my shit together.
Okay.
And I've had substantial amounts of clean time here and there, but I've always let men in my life, and they've always. I stopped
Yeah.
focusing on God, and I start focusing
Yeah.
on them, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it's awful. So I've decided to be single for a while. But anyway, there's this guy. He's been a part of the recovery community forever. Like, everybody knows him. Everybody likes him. He was sponsoring this other gentleman. And sponsoring basically means, like, in recovery, there's the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, and you work the steps. So it'll help you find, like, spirituality. And not
Right.
religion, but spirituality, because I know a lot of addicts are kind of like, ugh, like the whole God idea, like, nah. But, you know, God comes to those who seek him. And even
Right.
if you don't call him by, you know, like, he knows, you know? Like, I always say good, orderly direction. You know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, so he was sponsoring this guy. And he's always been kind of angry when I see him at meetings. But there's this one time I saw him not too long ago. He was doing really well. He seemed like happy, and it was like a weird thing because I'd always see him in a bad mood. And a couple weeks after that, he killed his sponsor. He stabbed him 27 times and
Oh
stabbed his
wow.
dog. And he
Wow.
was in psychosis because he had stayed up on meth, but he also had schizophrenia,
Okay. So he's
and he
probably
stopped
seeing
taking his
shit.
medication. Yeah, he was deaf because, like, even if you don't have schizophrenia, you're in psychosis, you see things. They're called the shadow people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that that's just because you stayed up. I think that you staying up makes it easier for you to see what's around you. Because
Mhm.
I personally think meth, especially meth, is of the devil.
Yeah.
Like, it is. I think it is. I mean, all drugs are, but that shit is, like, hardcore. So people will see crazy shit Like, it's legit. I've only stayed up for 5 days. And I don't know why, but other people, like, they be seeing shit. I don't. But I think that's because I'm protected. And I've always been protected, you know?
For
Like,
sure.
so, but yeah.
That's
So he
crazy.
did that. Yeah, it is crazy as fuck. And I'm only smiling because that's just what I do. That's a nervous thing.
Listen,
I
man.
laugh at funerals. Nothing's funny. People are like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, I know. What the fuck? I don't know. Nothing's funny.
Listen, man. I was in the Marine
But
Corps.
yeah.
Our sense of humor is oh my
Yeah.
God, it's fucked.
Yeah. I've worked in restaurants where it's all men, and it's like, like bus driver, sense of humor, or whatever.
Yeah,
so I can believe like all men in an area, the sense of humor is like
just
crazy.
fucked up.
Mhm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
When you work around a lot of men or you hang with a lot of men, you get to see just how fucked up we really are in the head.
Mhm.
So how did you meet your pimp?
Okay, so I was basically I was in rehab for the first time in Madison, Wisconsin. I got kicked out of rehab because I was a little shit and was like, fuck this, like this is just a tea break, you know? This ain't for me.
Right.
So I got kicked out. I moved into a sober living. When I say sober living, it's not like the normal sober living. There'll be a house president. You'll have to go to meetings. You have chores, this and that. Like there's rules, you know, and there's people watching over you. This sober living, there was like nobody around, no drug tests ever. So this other gal had moved in there. So she started doing heroin right off the bat. And so I started doing it. I got really bad into crack at that time too. That was like the first time I really tried crack. So I was really bad into crack, and I was doing a lot of Molly. I wouldn't say I was doing a meth at that time. I've only had done meth one time before that, and it was in New Mexico. I hadn't tried it in Madison until... So I started working at Taco Bell, and there was this girl that worked there. Fuck that bitch. But anyway, she was like this big, scary female, and she was cool at first, you know, like she obviously knew what I did. Whoever she was dating, he was a pimp, right? So they had me come over to their house, and they were talking like, oh yeah, like we can make money, and you can have all these drugs, and it'll be like so good. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. Like, I respect sex work. Like, even to this day, I still do. I wouldn't personally do it, and I know a lot of sex workers don't do it for that reason either. You know what I mean? It's not like that. But so basically, she had broken up with her boyfriend, like literally right after that. I had gotten kicked out of my sober living because when I was at work one day, they pawned the TV for $70 worth of crack. I wasn't even there. I didn't even get to participate. I just came home like, where the fuck's the TV? And so the owners of the house came in, and they're like, where is the TV? And they kicked us all out. I'm like, I didn't even, like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, but whatever. So I moved into her apartment, and at first it was like chill. It wasn't bad. Mind you, her kid lived there. Her 7-year-old child lived there. She was an asshole to him. It was terrible. He's left me there with him because she was off at work, and I had people go to the house, and he's seen some shit, dude. Like, I feel terrible. I feel awful. Like, he's seen some shit. Like, she's literally allowed me to smoke crack in that house while he was there.
Yeah.
It was terrible. She started treating me like shit because she had introduced me to meth. And so I was doing that now. So I was staying up all the time. I wasn't cleaning myself. She had me fucking all these dudes all the fucking time. She took all the money. She had me steal shit for myself. And she was like, but I thought you wanted this. Oh, like, bitch, you're buying chains. You got a flat screen TV. You got a new leather couch set. You got a new car. And I'm over here with a fake gold chain. And I found out it was fake. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Like, I'm getting treated like absolute dog shit. Like, this is not what I signed up for. So I had called my friend, and her and her boyfriend picked me up. They took me to this other guy's trap, this 86-year-old. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. This trap house. All these people were there smoking crack all the time. There was a dealer that lived upstairs, a dealer that lived over there, and they all wanted me. So I'm like, whatever, fuck it. Like, let's go. And I swear to God, I was sleeping on pillows in an empty room. And every night the plug would come there, and he'd be like, is Diana here? Like, where's Diana? Blah, blah, so whatever.
Was he coming
and then he started,
Was he
Huh?
coming to get services from you or what?
Well, like a lot of plugs, they have like these dopos that walk around with them, do shit
Yeah.
for them, free drugs, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that, like, I'd be doing that. I'd have to do stuff with him because he would get jealous
Yeah.
that I was fucking all these other dudes. So yeah, he's 86-year-old man. What the fuck, Diana? Anyway, I don't.
At 86, like
Crazy work.
how the fuck was he?
Crazy.
Why do you think he was selling drugs at 86? That seems like a very odd number
Crack.
to start selling dope.
Oh, he wasn't selling it. He just had his house.
Okay.
It was low income housing. He was a drug addict. So everybody would come, because you know it's the trap. He named his house the trap so people could come in, sell out of there. He'd get a little bit. Other people can come in, smoke it. He'd get a little bit because he's the owner of the house, the place to do drugs.
Yeah.
So she kept trying to hit me up, like, come back, I swear it'll be different this time. So she sent me like this big ass picture of this crack rock. It was like this big. I'm like, say less, you know? So I went back. The first night I went back, she left me with this big crack rock, whatever. Like, she went to go work. I started smoking it. Like, my heart started hurting. And this wasn't the first time, you know, like my shit was. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put this away. I stayed on the couch. I fell asleep. And that's how you know I've been up for so long, because you can't just be falling asleep on crack. That's literally, no.
Yeah.
That's like falling asleep on meth, you know? But I fell asleep. She came back. She's like, I've been talking to this other girl. She was like saying like, oh, like I'm gonna put her on. Like you can teach her this and that. So we went to lacrosse because that's where the other girl was. That's where her family lives, where her friends. There was this big ass party. Like I was supposed to be working it, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, can I just like party? Like what? So we were partying. She bought a huge bag of coke. So we were all staying up, doing blow. Then her and this other guy, they started fucking on me. I literally had to fuck this bitch. And yeah, she made me fuck her. It was disgusting. But I had to, yeah, she like embarrassed me in front of her friends. She like wanted them to see that like I was her like little whatever, and that she treated me like shit. And it was, she wanted to seem like these big time, like she wanted to have like these, I feel like she wanted to seem like she was a big pimp around like all these other guys were. Like that's what she wanted. She wanted to seem like that. And so she started treating me like absolute shit. We literally were doing it for like hours. I hated it. I did not want any part of it. So then she fell asleep because she'd been drinking, whatever. So this dude started flirting with me. I started flirting with him too, but it was only flirting and I didn't really, whatever. I didn't want to. She came, and I also went to the bar without her because she was sleeping. Meantime, like this other girl, the one that I was talking about, she started texting her, telling her like, oh, Diana's doing this, Diana's doing that, making me seem like I'm just out here. Well, I was, but can I not? Like, what the fuck? So she wakes up. She starts screaming at me, being like, I should just piss on you. Like, you're a piece of shit. You ain't nothing. You're a bum. All this shit, right? So I'm like, okay. So on the way back, I'm like, I'm fucking done. Like, I am done. You know what I mean? And so I try to leave again. She won't let me take any of my shit. She's like, oh, I bought this for you. I bought that. You can't have that. Bitch, I bought that. Just like I bought everything else. Right. It's my money. You fucking cunt. I'm sorry. I hate her. But anyway, so I'm trying to leave, and she throws my phone down the toilet. Oops. Okay, guess what? Now I gotta call the cops. I didn't want to. I wasn't going to, but now I have to. So I went to the McDonald's, called the cops. She was right there. She met them first, actually, but I had already been on the phone with them.
That's dangerous.
So, yeah. She met them first. So, she was like, yeah, that's my ex. She stole $200 from me. Okay. They didn't believe her, obviously, but they wanted to make it seem like they believed her. So this was a federal case now. So I had a federal agent who took me into this room. It wasn't even like a scary questioning room like they usually. It was just like an office, and he was nice. So I knew that he wasn't like trying to like, you know, lock me up. Like he was nice to me. He found me a place to go. That place might have been like a crazy place, but he found me a place to go. And then I ended up going to another rehab. I got kicked out of that one because I was fraternizing, which you're not supposed to. fraternizing with men.
Yeah.
So then I came to Green Bay. I moved into a legit sober living. But then he was like, oh, he came down. He was like, so her email is attached to all these Backpage advertisements of me. The
Oh,
dumb
wow.
bitch attached her email address before Backpage got closed down. So they knew it was her.
So what's Backpage? Is it like a social media app?
Backpage? Okay, so Backpage was basically where, like, you could sell things. Like, it's closed down now because everybody used it for being able to prostitute. So that they would
Okay.
put, like, a picture. She would put a picture of me. She'd be like, Russian girl, da 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 da, massage. You'd always have to say massage for a certain amount of money. You could never
Okay.
say, like, you can't obviously say, like, oh yeah, like, she's a prostitute. You'd have to say she's a masseuse. So that's
Okay.
how people would get away with it.
Okay.
So yeah, so Backpage got shut down just for that reason alone, I think, because a lot of that was happening on there. So yeah, I didn't want to, like, they made me a deal to basically give her like 2 years probation. She's still a felon, but it's solicitation of prostitution, but she's still a felon, which
Right.
I'm okay with. I didn't want to see her in court, like, fuck her, like, Karma's a bitch. I'm sure she's already gotten everything that she deserves.
If you had to give any advice to, we'll say, young girls growing up in a big city, or just young girls in general, what would you say?
I would say don't get caught up in the nightlife. Don't get caught up in drugs, and don't let anybody like sweet talk you. Like, focus on yourself, focus on your family, focus on your career, because that's the things that I wasn't focusing on, and now I'm backtracking, because like eventually you'll get to the point where it is something that you will want for yourself. You could have just already had it and pushed through it without having to backtrack.
So what did you learn from this? Well, I'm gonna ask you this. Are you currently on drugs or dealing with prostitution at all?
Not at all. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I have almost 3 months sober. I just got a job. I just got my HSED too,
Okay.
because I dropped out of high school.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, no, I'm not currently on drugs. I'm not drinking, I'm not smoking, nothing. I would say to those like girls that are thinking about it, like, it might seem like it's easy. It might seem like it's not going to have a toll on your mental, but eventually, like, you can dissociate for only so long, but like you'll always remember it. Like, you'll feel like you'll have lower self-esteem because of it. You know what I mean?
All right.
Like, it will affect you. It will. If you plan on ever getting married, like, I mean, like, I'm not saying, like, because I've known a lot of men that haven't judged me, but if you fall in love with a guy, like, and, you know, some guys they will judge you. Like, that can hinder a perfect relationship for you, too.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's not worth, the money is not worth like, how you're gonna feel about yourself. And I'm not saying I feel bad about myself, but, like, it makes you see the world differently.
Yeah, that's my
Darker.
next question. How has your view towards men changed?
Oh my God. I'm not gonna say like it's a bad view, because like I think a lot of guys are dogs. I do.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of guys are dogs.
Right, yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you, they are. A lot of guys, man. I learned the most about men from women, you know, because a guy will get in front of me. And I met this one guy, man, and it was the craziest thing ever. But he was married, I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about our wives, because that's what guys do. And I was like, you know, I'm ready to get home, man, see my kids, see my wife. And he was like, same, man, same. And then a couple of minutes later, he was, you know, texting this girl, trying to get her to meet up with him so he can fuck.
Yes.
And I'm like, you was just, you know, he had just got off the phone with his wife.
I have a story. I know, it's crazy.
And I'm like, and I told him, like, cause me, I'm that friend that's going to hold your fucking ass accountable. You know,
as you should.
Not everybody wants to hear it, but I'll learn
but people need to.
Yeah, like, because if she's home and I heard her tell him, I love you and I miss you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I heard his kids in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him, I'm like, bro, how long have you been married? And he's like, 2 years. I say, do you love her? He say, more than anything in the world. I say,
what are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, bro, so what are you doing? And he was like, man, I just want to fuck, bro. He was like, man, it ain't nothing deeper than that. I just got to get this nut off. And I say, bro, because we had went to school in Arizona. The school paid for our flights and we came out to Arizona, stayed out there for a month. And I'm like, bro, you can't go a month without sticking your dick in something. And he was like, man, I gotta fuck. He was like, I have a high sex drive, I gotta fuck. And I'm like, well, okay. I left it at that.
Yeah, I don't like I get people have high sex drives, but like you have your hand first of all, and they're all
Yeah.
like, it's not the same, it's not the same. But like maybe you should focus on like going like thinking about why you're like that. Like
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
it wasn't always. It can't
Yeah.
have been always like that.
Yeah, man, it's ridiculous. Like, don't get me wrong, for a month away from my wife, I was horny too, but I made it up in my mind that I was going to fast for a month and just use my sexual energy to transmute it to pass the class that I was in. And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I started to tell him, like, bro, you can take that energy and just transmute it to help you pass the class. And he wouldn't hear none of that shit. He wanted to
Right.
fuck something. And
Yeah.
I think he did.
Oh,
I think he did.
yeah.
So yeah, he cheated
Well,
on
okay,
me.
so I have like, okay, so my ex-boyfriend, I still have feelings for him. I don't think he's gonna, I don't give a fuck, whatever. So on Valentine's Day, he messages me and he adds me on Snapchat. He's like, I add him back. I'm like, who is this? Because I honestly didn't know. He's like, it's your favorite ex-boyfriend.
Oh, wow.
And then he sends me a picture of his newborn baby.
Why?
I don't know. Okay, I'm like, I asked him. I'm like, is that yours? He's like, yeah. You're like making small talk, like, but he has a baby mama, like his girlfriend.
Yeah.
She just had a child.
Yeah.
What do you do? Why are you messaging me?
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
And he didn't even like it was like he was like, I'm sorry for ditching you that one day. Like, I hope you're doing really well, like this and that. But it's like, why?
Yeah. I don't have an explanation on why I would ever do that to a woman, like, especially a woman where I know she's still in love with me. Like, yeah, that's crazy.
I don't think he knows that. But I've made it like maybe he does, but I don't know if he still has feelings. I don't know, but it's like there was plenty of opportunity for you to break up with her.
Yeah.
You know? There was plenty of opportunity. And like, yeah, I did him really dirty. I did. I cheated on him, but I was using, I was getting drunk. I was younger. I did him super dirty. And which is why I'm surprised that he's even like taking the time to reach out to me.
Yeah.
Because he messaged me again today, like a selfie of himself. I'm like, why?
I think he's trying to kind of ease his way back in. I think if he's bold enough to say that he's your favorite ex-boyfriend, I think he knows that you still have something for him. Because I'm not gonna talk that way to a woman. Every man has his favorite. I've been married for 6 years. Any woman that I've left alone, I don't fuck with. But if I had to go backwards, fuck all of them.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Fuck all of them, man.
Yeah, that's what my friend Mikey said too. He was like, I don't know, he probably just wants attention or like to get a nut off. But I'm not gonna do that. I don't like his girlfriend. I'm not gonna say that I do. I don't like her. But she just had a baby. His baby. Like, it's all different now, man. Like, I might have thought about it. But now you got a kid. Like, this is family. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, this isn't just your life. It's not just her life. It's that baby's life, too.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
No, I don't. But
do you want kids?
I do. I've been told that I would have to, like, take a medication to have kids by a doctor. So, like, hopefully, like, when I do want a child, I can have one. But if I can't, then I can't adopt because I was adopted. So, like, why not?
Yeah, so it's interesting, man, because the people that want to have kids can't have kids, and the motherfuckers that didn't want kids.
Right.
I got kids, man.
Right. What the fuck, man?
You know what I'm saying? I love my children, but I didn't want kids because I lived a very dangerous lifestyle when I was younger, and I always thought that I was gonna get killed early.
Yeah, be like that. I also think like maybe God is just like letting me, like maybe he's waiting for me until I find the right one.
Right.
The one that he wants me to be with, you know?
Right. Do you want to be married?
I do. Like, probably not now. I kind of have a lot of making up to do for my past mistakes. So I want to focus on myself and get my career going, like, cuz now that I have my high school diploma, I want to go to school to be a substance abuse counselor. because I've always wanted to be like a counselor of some sort, but I feel like that's my calling. Because I
Yeah.
know when I was in rehab and there was all these counselors, like they're book smart
Yeah.
and they mean well, but like you don't know what you're talking about, okay? These books ain't
Yeah.
teaching you the
Yeah.
street shit, okay? So I
Yeah.
want to be that.
I was getting marriage counseling from a lady who wasn't married, and I asked her was she married, and she was like, no. And I kind of looked at her like,
Right.
yeah.
You're
So
like,
how the
what are
fuck,
you doing?
yeah, like how the fuck are you gonna tell me about marriage when you not going
You're
home
not
to
even
yeah
right.
to your husband? Like the fuck?
Right.
It's real
That's
weird, man.
how, like, I know they mean well, but it's like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to have some sort of experience. I'm not just gonna listen to you because you graduated with a bachelor's.
Right.
Like, I graduated with the highest diploma, I think, already by what I've been through. So,
Yeah.
you
Experience.
know, right, experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Experience is definitely, man, it'll get you a long way. But what are some parting messages you have for the people watching?
I hope that my story makes you think about not doing the things that I've done. I might seem like I'm okay, like I am okay, but it's taken me a lot of time to be where I am today. You know what I'm saying? And if you're like in recovery and you're thinking about, oh, like maybe I'll go out there and maybe it'll be different this time. It won't be different. I've done it. I've been in the rooms in and out, in and out, in and out. It will not be different. It'll be much worse and you'll have a lot more to clean up.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can dig that. In the future, we may come back and do a part 2.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care, you too.
Bye.